Today is Fulfilling Friday, and hopefully you're seeing all of your dreams and desires fulfilled because the universe is always fulfilling that which you honestly and within your heart believes, not necessarily what you think you believe with your brain. And there's a big difference in that. And that's why I often stress the fact that we need to spend time with ourselves. Because when we spend time with ourselves, it's only then that we become more aware of our true self, of our true connectedness that's within us. And then from that true perspective, we begin to be able to appropriately judge what our actions are from a more higher and spiritual perspective. So, I don't know how deep I'm going to get with this right now, but I just thought I would pop on here, spend some time with you guys. It's Friday evening, and share some thoughts. I posted something this week looking for people's ideas and thoughts on it, and I didn't get too much of a response, but I'll put mine forth here. And I put this riddle up. It says, "Riddle me this." I'm reading it. It says, "What costs nothing, but is very hard to find and can easily be lost?" So, thank you for those who did reply, and of course, I always welcome your comments, questions, and concerns anytime below this video. I'm always available. You know how to get me. So, that's no excuse. But my answer to that riddle is what you could what costs nothing but is very hard to find is what I'm asking you to do, and that is to find yourself, your spiritual self. That's what I call building your spiritual muscle. Okay? Because, to be honest, you go around, we go around thinking we know everything, but we really don't know anything except that which we experience directly within ourselves. People can tell you stories, they can tell you how to do this, they can tell you how to make $1 million, they can tell you how to do anything. But as you know, it's always experience that makes a difference. Why does experience make a difference? Because that's the only time it becomes actually real to the person, something that they actually can feel within themselves, their heart and soul. That's when it's more real. And oftentimes that's what we lose. So it costs nothing, but it's very hard to find that because we don't take time out to be with ourselves. And we feel guilty for spending time with ourselves. We've been taught that if you spend time with yourself and you're not worried about what somebody else wants, that you're selfish. Whereas they don't consider them selfish, asking you to give up what your true heart's desires are to even find yourself because they want you to do what they want you to do. But they're not selfish, right? So some things just don't make sense. But at the end of the day, you know how you feel within yourself. You can't describe that to anyone, and you don't need to. But the idea is, it's where you feel about yourself and that interconnectedness that we're trying to establish contact with so that we are aware of it. Once we are aware of it, it becomes part of our intellectual knowledge and sphere of understanding about everything else that's happening in our life. And it's from that perspective that we can judge everything according to truth, the absolute truth. Because if you listen to what you've heard, and if you do the things as everyone else quote normally does, you're basically not in contact with yourself. You're not acting from within yourself, ideally, and you really can never be happy because in truth you cannot ever make anyone else happy. You can do everything you want, and it might work a little bit, but in truth you can't because everyone has this place within themselves where they have to find it within themselves. And that's part of what we call here building our spiritual muscle so that we are able to understand and know and how to operate our lives from a perspective of truth. That particular truth allows us to be the best that we can be under any circumstance condition. And so that's why I answered the riddle that way. And you have to know it was kind of like probably a trick question because I was gonna probably go with this anyway, I guess. But so it's cost you nothing because that's who you are. That's how you are created from a baby, and babies and young children know what it is they want, their true desires, because they just know what's in them innately. But it's only as we grow up we've been taught to not listen to our inner selves anymore, and then that's where we lose contact with ourselves. And that's why it can become very it can be easily lost because it's kind of built in that you would lose it. It's called growing up. It's called being like everyone else. It's called fitting in the group. And all those other things, when you give up your sense of self, your own identity. And I'm not talking about from an outer perspective. I'm talking about, do you feel good in your skin? Do you know who you are? Um, do you know what makes you truly happy, not just occupied and distracted? See, that's your spiritual muscles there coming into play. And there's lots of philosophies, studies, and all like that go into that. And that's what this group is about. And that's what I try to write about, and I'm writing these programs for. That's why I'm kind of busy doing a lot of stuff. But that's why it's important to spend time with yourself so that you can reconnect with that truth that's within you. Because in truth, we were created perfect. There was no part of us that's bad. We've been convinced and taught that there's parts of us that are bad. Now, according to the Bible and all, there's this thing called sin and all that. Right, and but sin, if you look it up, it just means missing the mark. Do you sin? We're naturally sinners. Of course we are. We always miss the mark. That's why we grow. When we find out there's something not correct, that's when we correct it. But in the universe, God created it perfect, so there's nothing wrong with anything. But who says there's something wrong with it? We do. So who puts ourselves in the box of being like out of step with reality? We do. But if you're not thinking for yourself, you can be led to believe that you're less than the best because your skin is a certain color, your hair is a certain texture, you went to a certain school, you drive a certain car, you have certain digits in your bank account, you wear your hat backwards, you wear a cap at all. This hat's got me in more trouble. But that's all right. That's why I wear it. Love it. So it's easily lost because most of the world is not operating in such a way that you can easily find it again. That's why you have to spend time with yourself. Because when you spend time with yourself, it automatically resurfaces. And that's a good thing. And that's why we're here in spiritual fitness training. Because when we get to that point of awareness, there's certain things and abilities that you have not even taken into account. And that's why we're here to understand and talk about that kind of stuff. There are people that are empaths, right? They just naturally have this ability to feel energy, put themselves in other people's shoes. That's a gift. But a lot of people on the worldly sense take advantage of people that have that ability because those people with that ability have been taught primarily, or that's not going to say they've been taught, but they haven't been taught about the gift and the fact that it's natural and how they're supposed to use it, right? They take that gift and then turn it around to meet other people's needs, which is what we've been taught, to see about somebody else first. But you can't help someone else if you can't help yourself. In truth, you might do some things. So, when you talk about spiritual fitness training, we're talking about making real change. We're not talking about just surface level changes. And you can work very hard to achieve things in life, and that gets you someplace, some far. But if you go at it spiritually from a point of truth, your leverage is so much better. You'll just blast past that. That's like nothing, But we haven't been taught that. So spiritual fitness training is what our training that we go through to get back in touch with the truth that's within us. That was there from the beginning, from the very beginning. Okay? And a lot of that is covered in the Bible. That's why I love that particular text. It's the most complete spiritual text that you can find that I found, or spiritual writings that way. And I told you I have a Baptist background, so I've studied all these different things, and yes, that's all true and good. But when you really get to understand the spiritual meaning of the Bible, that's why I'm going to do spiritual Bible lessons if you guys want to participate. Because that's the only source when you get how it's worded, what it says spiritually. You kind of get the whole enchilada in one place. You don't have to go get a little from here, there, and there. Although you'll be able to appreciate it in many places and still get it from other places. But I find that it gives you the most bang for the buck in that it's kind of, I call spiritually dense. Spiritually dense. One sentence in there. It says, like the Lord's Prayer, Our Father, who art in heaven. So where is our Father? Where is God? In heaven. See, it's all there. Give us this day. You know, have it done as it is in heaven. See, so what we're seeing here is what's a reflection of what's in heaven. So what's heaven? Heaven is the spiritual realm, of course. Spiritual fitness training. What is the spiritual realm, and how do we get in touch with it? By understanding ourselves, because that is our only way. That is our connectedness, and it's always there, but we don't look at it, we don't know about it, and we tend to miss the mark. Missing the mark is considered sin. If I slap somebody, that's not sin. If I curse, I can curse. I can use every word. God made all the words. I can use any word I want. It's not sin. Sin is missing the mark. It's missing the mark is when you call yourself less than the best, because God created you to be the best. But you're going around here calling yourself less than the best. You don't have this. You can't do this. You can't do that. Well, you need to stop it, because you need to understand your spiritual nature that's within yourself. I'm getting hard now. Spiritual fitness training. But that's what it's really about. We've been taught that spiritual people are kind of weak, meek, and all that. Well, yeah, in a way, because the truly spiritual people that are really centered and connected know that the battle is not in anything that they see or the people that's around them. It's a spiritual battle within. So their method in addressing problems and dealing with situations is more of an inner alignment, and the solution presents itself and just works out eventually, and when it needs to, and in the right way. So we don't have to go around, bashing people or doing things or trying to convince people to join the group or do this or that. That's God's work. God's big enough to do his own work. It's our job just to understand how we relate to it. And when we do that, we're automatically doing our part, because we're all part of this one whole beautiful thing that was created. But we tend to forget that. And when we forget that and go out of those bounds, that's when we tend to have a little bit more difficult experiences. And those experiences are there such that we find our way back. But there's no possibility of getting lost, you may go through a hard life or whatever, but God loves us all. He never leaves or forsakes us. This is why I said the Bible is very good. It's very dense. And someone who spent a lot of time in the book would, get the little different quips that I'm saying that I've kind of throwing in here or there. But it's a lot of information to cover, so that's why we do spiritual Bible lessons. That's why we have these discussions that we're having here and now. In fact, you'll find that the discussions we're having here and now probably happens, on a worldwide basis, less than 5% of the time, because many people are not even aware of their inner self. And that's why I thought that this riddle was so appropriate. It says, what costs nothing? Because, you're given it, right? But it's very hard to find. It's very hard to find because you don't spend time looking for yourself, and you've never been told that you were in there. In fact, everything you've ever been taught since you were a kid growing up was to ignore what was in there. Right? So it's very hard to find and can be easily lost. Well, that's kind of, you don't really lose it, but you may lose the advantage of knowing about it, and it affects your current and everyday experience on the earth. But we have to know the universe was created perfectly. We're here to experience the universe experiencing itself in many different forms, in many different scenarios and situations. Our biggest problems are no major concern to the creator of the universe. It's all been handled. But we each have our own perspective, which is a true gift to have. No two people experience the same thing the same way. But everyone has the same needs and desires within themselves to be fulfilled. And that's a spiritual thing. So if everyone was really fulfilling themselves from that true center and core within ourselves, we would have a whole lot less friction in the world and more toleration for all the differences. How many kinds of plants are there on the earth? How many kinds of animals are there? How many kinds of animals and plants that you can't even see with the eye are on the earth? There's always variety. The universe is variety. How many planets are there? Infinite numbers. How many experiences are over the same issue? Infinite numbers, because every person looking at it sees it slightly differently. No two people are the same. So understand that in as much as we are all individual people with our own individual experiences, we're all the same and connected to the spiritual core and essence of our being. And one of the primary driving factors for that, at least on this plane, the plane of Earth, is the need to feel satisfied, at peace, and at home within ourselves. That's what we typically call prosperity. And out of that comes all the other physical needs we would need, more than we could even, you know, imagine getting. So if we take care of that core awareness in alignment with that truth that is within us, all the other things tend to magically fulfill themselves, as in what it today is fulfilling Fridays. How perfect was that, you see? And that's what that's about. So it's about, you know, contemplating things from a larger perspective. Don't limit God. Don't limit the Creator. Don't limit your connectedness to it. Right? The problems you see are the fulfillment of yesterday's desires and alignments. But at any point, you can just realign and it eventually changes. And in fact, that's the only way to really affect any change in your life. You have to basically change and realign with the truth that you are within yourself. And once you do that and you begin to become acquainted with that inner awareness, you'll begin to be able to carry that knowledge into your everyday life, and you'll be found that you'll be led to do the right things that mitigate those things that bother you. You'll find yourself going around, over, and through any obstacles that may be in the way. And you'll do it naturally, practically effortlessly. You just watch it like, wow. All you have to do is align and maintain that alignment. And by doing that alignment, you are, in essence, finding God, the universe, within yourself. And as I said before, you know nothing except you experience it through yourself. But if you spend all of your time and yourself looking at things in the world which are already done, anything you see is in its highest state of decay. Right? It's only ideas and things that are of a spiritual nature that are always increasing and forever. So at any moment, it's always fulfilling the desires and the energies that have passed prior to that moment. So even as I'm talking, things are changing. And at any point, you can always change it by just realigning and reorienting yourself. And that's why we're here for spiritual fitness training, because becoming aware of this inner ability within yourself makes you spiritually fit to walk among I should say walk on water, as they call it. That's the, you know, make sure you don't miss any rocks, you know, but you can walk on the water. But basically that means that you can navigate through life, the fluid conditions, the situations that happen. Things will always happen in your life, but you have to know, and when you are centered, you know that you just go through it. It's just wonderful, because we're not in this alone. And it's so amazing how the universe fulfills everyone's need at the same time, you know. So don't think that just because you have a desire or a need for something in specific that you're taking it from someone else. The universe is infinite, and the universe works out everything for everyone. We're the ones with the limited consciousness. We're the ones with the limited mindset. We're the ones with the not enough consciousness that make us fight to get something when there's plenty to go around for everyone, because we're not aware, and we're not aware and operating from the fulfillment that is within us. We're looking for it from the outside world. And if you see someone else have it, you want to take it from them, or you think they have it to give to you, when in fact no one has anything they can give you, and no one can take anything that's truly yours. So I know I've kind of made this a little bit long. I looked up at like 20 minutes in, but you know, this is the stuff I like. So I'm here. Comments below, reflections. I want to hear something from you guys. You're getting too quiet out there. So I'll be doing these Bible lessons. I haven't gotten any replies from anyone about being committing to any time, so I'm just going to do them on my own, and I'm going to record them, and I'll make them available on the website. Probably just skip this Facebook group because I don't even know if it's getting out there. So I will put it there and I'll give links to where it is. But I'm working on it diligently. It takes a while to put all this stuff together so that it makes sense for everyone. Um, and that's what I've been doing. So I'm still here. Comments below, reach out, say hello, tell me you like it, tell me you don't like it, tell me what you want to hear. And that's what it's going to be for now. So have a happy Friday, fulfilling Friday. I'll try to do another live over the weekend if I get a chance, or if there's anything that comes up. If you have any questions, I'll answer them over the weekend. But other than that, I'm here and look to see you and hear from you. Below. Write me below. Let me know you've seen this, and we'll be in touch. Take care. Have a good Friday evening. Good night.